welcome to Igniting Inspired Insight, a space for real humans and raw conversations. I am your host, Jay. I am a teacher, guide, and student of exploring energy and empowering love. In each short episode here, we get to explore three questions that open the door to reflection, resonance, and revelation. One question I get to ask every guest, one question they won't expect, and one they get to ask me and maybe even answer themselves. This is a beautiful, honest, and really unscripted conversation for us to play. This is a space for truth, trust, and the kind of insight that comes from simply being human. So today I have the gorgeous Georgia here, and she is currently in Melbourne, and we've known each other for quite a while now. We met in Bali, I think, but we've also seen each other in other places. Yeah, it was Bali.
Yeah.
And she's a magical human, and I'm so excited she's here. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, do you want to share a little moment to tell us who's Georgia?
That's a very that's a huge
I
question.
know.
Well, I'm so many things, honestly. I feel like I'm almost like a jack of all trades. Like, I feel like I've gone on so many different adventures so far in my life that have made me the current version of Georgia that is today. But yeah, I feel like I'm definitely, I like that you described yourself as a learner. Like I feel like I'm just constantly learning about myself, and I just want to learn about myself and life, and
Mm.
um continue to evolve. um I'm definitely somebody that loves to help others, so that's where my love for teaching movement comes in, and empowering others to learn to um, find that, you could say, radical self-acceptance within movement and love for movement
Mhm.
within their own body, um, and just creating a safe space for that too. I think that's one of the biggest things about who I am, honestly.
Mhm.
um, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I love it. I
I was
mean,
trying to
that
be
no, I love it.
the way you asked that question made me really think about, oh, how do I
Yeah,
describe who I am?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And in that, we describe what's important to us, right? And
Yes.
that's what I hear, and that's why we. Although it's been a minute since I've seen you, that's why we align. It's for that purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Um, right, let's do it. This is the first question. So this is the common
Yay.
thread. This is a question that everyone gets to answer, but every answer is just so incredibly divinely diverse. So I love it. What's one belief, moment, or experience that changed the way you see the world?
Um, I so in, what would it be, 2022? I actually, the end of 2021, I was living here in Melbourne, and then I was in a relationship that I realized very soon that didn't serve me, or yeah, it really wasn't me. And but within that, I'm grateful because there's, all these layers to that helped me be where I am today. But um, I found out that my mom had it's called myelofibrosis. So it's like a bone marrow cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So then she was getting really sick and they didn't really know why. So then that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then because the relationship didn't turn out, I had no visa to be here in Australia. And then my mom was sick, so I had to go home. And within all that mess of all those events happening, I also met somebody else and they just moved with me, with my
Mm-hmm.
dog. So um, there was just this, it was just a pretty big like crash of events in a sense. Like thought I knew where I was going in my life. I had everything kind of planned from the sense when I landed in Australia after I met my ex-partner. So I thought I
Mm-hmm.
had everything like planned with her. And yeah, I really didn't,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, I did things I never thought I would do.
Mm-hmm.
I became somebody that I really didn't recognize. Um so I moved home. I became a I've always been a carer. I've always been a giver, but I really stepped into a caregiver role with my mom
Mm-hmm.
and also for my dog and my partner. I was like the sole provider. So then I was I went back to teaching, um, because that was another evolution that came back into my life that I revisited,
Yeah.
which was the best thing I could have done during that time, was do some more training
Mm-hmm.
while my mom was in hospital and going to all these different appointments, um, which kind of is cool to think about because it's kind of goes back to that, like always learning, always
Mm-hmm.
wanting to evolve and educate myself. And then um, just her getting sick and like all of her symptoms that came up for her, um, really, it just made me like very yeah, it made me more grateful,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. um Especially for the care she got. um and then, you know, um yeah, there's just some really, like when we look back at them now, they're quite funny stories in a sense, like the way she acted and stuff on different medication. But um it made me really prioritize what mattered, like
Mm-hmm.
in life. Whereas before it was just always about working or um maybe doing something just more for my benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was, yes, I was still working when my mom was sick, but like I became more um just less like self, kind of obsessed with myself in a sense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe at times it wasn't maybe the healthiest, because then I got too much like, oh, about taking care of her, like
Yeah.
um but it, yeah, it just really, I think it really grounded me.
Mm. It sounds like you chose a lot of things that served you too, though, because you chose to do the training.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was like highly in service of you while you were looking
Yes.
after your mum. So that was
Yeah.
like, it feels like that was a really big test of that pendulum swing and what's in balance and zooming out. And I do hear you on that just renewed level of appreciation for what you have when you go through experiences like that.
Yeah, because and I kind of talk about a few different events there. Honestly, I
Mm.
talk about the ex-partner and I talk about my mom, but
Mhm.
I lost a lot going through that separation. Like I not just um like we did it, it was very amicable, honestly, the best way we could have done it. But like just in the sense of even materialistic things, like there was a lot of um even just things we've collected together. We created a home together, and so then we um and I fought for Frank, and I fought for our dog. So it just made me really grateful for Frank. um yeah, and then I think it's also important to mention that the other thing that kind of was like at the end of all that, I got really badly, very badly scammed in Australia. Um, so when it comes to like, you know, financially, I got very grateful. Like there was another kind of, so when I say everything kind of just crashed and,
Yeah, you
I had
mean
to
it.
rebuild again, it was very much like that
Yeah.
because I was in a pretty like deep, dark space for a while.
Yeah.
Um, but like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like if I think about the scam, I think about like everything I went through. I get I get I get emotional about it, but I get emotional about it more so in a way that brings me more gratitude now, honestly.
For the lessons. The universe does that, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some seriously big lessons, nothing you can't handle. But it might
Yeah.
feel like you can't at certain times.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, but that's the essence of life. To me, that's the truly living is not having those things happen to you, but is being able to look back and be and that's what I can hear, really proud of how you showed up
Yeah.
and really reflective. That's what you're sharing, really reflective of what you learned.
Yeah.
And letting that, and again I can hear that, like that implementing that into your life moving forward, and that's so powerful because that changes the way you see the world. Doesn't it though?
It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of these things, no matter how diverse or challenging they are, they come out with this next level appreciation and tools. And that's the essence of life, right? Challenge, work through it, what do we gain? Yeah, that's beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
that. Yay. Okay, we're moving into the in the moment, which means that Georgia doesn't know the question I'm about to ask her. This question I have for you, I actually really want to play with, and I even reading it, I'm like, oh, I need to do that for myself. So, question being, what do you wish people would ask you more often?
Oh God. It's so hard. I really don't know.
Did you find that, like, as you're thinking about this,
Yeah.
where my head's going is like what I think other people would say, and like what would be the most supportive, I think, question.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Which might evoke some emotion, actually.
I think I guess I want a question that reflects um a, somebody somebody seeing me, like
Mm-hmm.
really seeing me. So whether that's like how um like how are you, or how are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
But like with the intention behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
it comes down to not really the question, but more so the tone and the intention behind the question.
Mm-hmm.
And like, is that person present when they
Mm-hmm.
ask me?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that comes down to. Um, because when the person asks a question in a way that makes you feel safe, then I feel like I can actually truly answer. Does that make sense? So it's not
100%.
even really a question I have. It's more so I just want more. I would like, I would appreciate more of an intentional question being asked in
I
the
hear that.
moment.
Yeah. I
Like,
think
yeah,
I think what you're saying, and or perhaps that's why I want to reflect that back to you, is that often we hear that question if we're talking about the example of how are you,
yeah,
but people don't always mean it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Or because we're so used to people not meaning it, it's just a thing they say. When someone who we really want us to ask that question asks us that question, we do the normal, I'm good. I'm
yeah,
good, thanks. Even though that person really wants to know. And so I think what I'm hearing or I'm contemplating, which I haven't before, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I think that we also in the response get wired to not answer. What do you think? Do you think that's true?
um, yeah. And I think it depends on like who's asking
Mhm.
because, like, for example, just give you a quick example. My partner, I've had to like very verbally say, express to him that I need him to um tell me I appreciate you or thank you
Mhm.
for doing that one thing. Because he's more of an actions person. He's more of a acts of service in
Yep.
his love,
Mhm.
whereas words aren't really as much. I
Mhm.
guess he talks to me, but like
Yep.
but in the sense of like, really seeing me and saying, "Hey, I
Yep.
really appreciate you taking the dog out while I
Mhm.
had a bath," or like
Mhm.
whatever. I need him. I just have expressed that to him, and it's been so, yeah, it's been,
A work in progress.
yeah, so much progress and a big game changer, honestly, in the
Mm.
relationship. Um, so yeah, for example, like if he asked me, like how are you with intention, I would feel safe enough to tell him.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
I hear you.
Anyways, can
I
you hear
love
that?
that. I think that we that's complete, but at the same time, that will open up some really beautiful contemplation for the listeners. Is like considering that question for themselves.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate the answer that you've given and what that may ignite in them, which is the whole purpose of this convo.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Welcome.
Here we come to the third segment of our time together. And this segment is called Reflecting Light. And because George is about to ask me a question that I don't know. So over to you, my love.
So my question that I honestly had a few ways I wanted to take it, but I wanted to wait to see you.
Yeah.
Um, and then it wasn't very long until I was like, okay, I know the question I want to ask you. Um, as we started talking. But what I want to know, because you've been so many places, you've had so many different experiences, and um, I want to know what your favorite, most beautiful experience you've experienced so far in your life. That's, it
Mm.
might be a very, um, very like it's a big question
Oh,
because
I love
there's so
it.
many things. But
Hmm.
I just, yeah, I've always admired you. I always thought that you're just this incredible free spirit, and I'm really curious to know what your favorite, um, your favorite part of it all has
Mm-hmm.
been so far.
Ooh, there's a few things that pop into mind,
Yeah.
especially when you started the question with places. However, what's probably really unexpected is that the most beautiful experience that I've had in my life would be the passing of my sister. And the reason for that is because the depth of connection and the experience of what's living, like and truly living, and really honoring that when we arrive on this planet at some point, certainly, it is like it's one of our only certainties. We will pass, and that in that passing, there's like this liberation on the other side, and I can feel that for my sister. When people say, and this might be really confusing and quite odd for a lot of people to hear, but it's what I truly feel. And I don't feel it because it makes me feel better. It's what I know in all of my being, is that people will often say, I'm so sorry that she's passed or whatever. And I totally get that. However, I can feel that she is so much better where she is now. Like what was next for her is where she needed to get to. And to be able to be witness to that is just, it's the most beautiful thing I could ever imagine. And it doesn't mean that I wanted it to go that way, not in any way, shape, or form. And I think another reason I feel that way is to see the suffering that she endured and to be liberated from that and to be in this realm now that she can be with a lot of people all at the same time. Like she pops in for so many of us. And I just think that that's incredible. So to be able to have that, like to be able to have her on the other side, therefore all with me always, and for her to be truly free is like, it's such an incredible gift. And we got to that through the experience we had. And another reason why I say it's the most beautiful experience of my life is that time. And yes, there was equally some of the most cruel parts of that I've ever experienced, but equally like the road trip that we went on and the conversations that we had and the connection that was developed through that time, I will never underestimate and I'll never forget. And so that's why I say it was one of the most beautiful times. It was also one of the most beautiful times because the way that my family and my friends and my whānau came together and the way we are now because of that experience, I'll never forget that. And I'll always be grateful for the connections that I have with my little ones, with my sisters, meaning my friends, and the emotional education that we all got through that experience is just, yeah, unforgettable.
I really do love that.
Thank you for asking me that question. I wouldn't have expected that. But it's true for me. It's absolutely true for me. I mean, other experiences like being in Bali and being immersed in just such soulful, curious, like-minded, embodied energy is just next level. But yeah, that true, because it really my being with my sister in that journey was a real lesson of, like you said in your answer earlier, of like what's important and what life truly means.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually what popped up for me was when I knew that, when I heard what was going on and what you both were going through, I just felt really grateful I got to meet her. You know, like that's what went through my head, was just like, what a beautiful, what a life where, you know, I don't know.
I hear
It was
you.
just a short period of time, but it
It
was
was.
just like a little blip where I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, and that's what a lot of people say because she was just so incredible. And in her 26 years, she she lived a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so proud of who she was and who she is. And yeah, and I agree. It's so grateful that you got to meet her. Yeah. Thank you for asking me that question.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Do you want to answer that too?
Um, one of the most beautiful, one of my most favorite experiences actually is very similar. My I was very close with my granny. Like when and I guess, you know, yes, she's a family member. Yes, she's, you know, um, I think people just kind of bypass it in a sense sometimes because oh, she's a grandparent. It was her time.
Hmm.
But people don't like take time to really understand the context of what happened, and like how quick it happened and how it wasn't like, yes, it happened and I've worked through that acceptance, but um there's also the question of like, oh, should it have happened? Like scientifically with,
Hmm.
being in a hospital when she had her stroke and everything, and why she went in there in the first place, and then to come out and then be stuck in a home for 3 years during COVID. um like she was, yeah, so there's just a lot of, I think, judgment around it.
Hmm.
But I was like, there were times where I told her things that I would never tell my mom, you know um but I was able to, when she passed, I myself, Brendan, my mom, my uncle, were all there, and my sister when she passed, like holding her hand. And then my sister left when it was like really time, and then my partner left. But me, my mom, my uncle were all there, like for her last breath. So it was just very, as like, as tragic, as heartbreaking as it was, like I was able to be there,
Hmm. And that's a beautiful piece of it,
you
right?
know?
Yep.
It's so interesting that we talk about like our favorite experiences and how we are able to see the beauty within
Hmm.
the times that are really hard, like the
Hmm.
challenges, the sadness, right?
Yep.
But I think it's important to try to learn to do that,
Hmm.
or else it's too sad. Like it's just too hard.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a reflection of the the equal parts, right? It isn't one or the other.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of like through challenges there's the greatest lessons. Through pain is gain. Not that we ask for it, and that doesn't mean I'm not talking about no pain, no gain. I'm just saying through pain,
Yeah.
there is a gain if we can look at it that way.
Yeah.
And that's what we're both saying is one of the most beautiful experiences of our lives was witnessing death. And from that, well, also the honor of being there with them in that journey, but from that, a different level of appreciation for life. And that is such a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause, like after, with her passing, it brought like, yeah, she, like you said, like, your sister was it was so hard physically. Like she endured so much, and it just, that
Mhm.
she is so much happier. And that's the same with my granny. Like she was stuck.
Mhm.
She like she couldn't communicate with her words anymore, even though she wanted to. Like she was literally
Mm.
stuck in her body.
Mm-hmm. Same.
So for me, like that's like one of my worst nightmares.
Mm.
And she was living it. She was living.
Yeah.
And now there's just so much more. Yes, she's not here, but she also is. Like there's a lot of like I see still um my mom is here.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's here, but like she's still here, and there's so much that I like. Of course she's her daughter, so there's
Mm-hmm.
like I still see parts of my granny. I still have her, and then I'm a
Yeah.
part of like my granny is within me as well. And we all like take moments sometimes. Oh, that was a very granny thing of you. Like, oh,
Yeah.
like that reminds me of, and then it's
Yeah.
just like she's still alive in a sense.
Yeah.
Like she's still here. Um,
And they're still alive
yeah.
if we keep them alive, right? If we talk about
Yes.
them and we share about them and we
Yeah.
don't forget. And there's many cultures that believe that,
Yeah.
they only truly die when we forget, and that won't happen, especially for us and the people we're talking about, because what I can see, and it's obvious, is that they were our favorite people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew that, before your granny passed, like, when I first met you, like, I knew that your granny was one of your favorite people. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
special. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thanks for
Mhm.
having me.
Oh my gosh, just incredible. I wanna say thank you to anyone and everyone who is listening to this igniting, inspired insight with this beautiful Georgia. I hope that something landed in your heart, sparked a shift, or simply reminded you of your own knowing. If this conversation lit you up in a certain way, or it speaks to a connection or a conversation that you want to have with another, I really invite you to share this. You can find out more about this in the show notes. And until next time, my invitation to you is to stay open, to be grounded, and to let your light guide the way in whatever way, shape, or form that looks. Thank you. Mwah.
Thank you.
Yay. Hello, beautiful human. I hope whatever you've just viewed was highly of service to you. I'm going to ask you a favor. I would deeply appreciate if you could like or share anything that really speaks to you. And even more than that, it'll take 2 seconds of your time. If you could subscribe to this channel, what that does is allow me to be seen by more people, and it increases the opportunity that I have on this platform. And that's just the nature of the biz. It doesn't cost you a thing, just a few seconds of your time, and it would really deeply help me to get further and reach more people in my work. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I see you soon.